each contract year. Our last one was back in November. For this morning, it looks like we have Renee from Pima Community College. Andrea is standing in for Ron Gonzalez from Raytheon. We saw Steve Rivera from Carondelet. Josephine is here from Bureau of Prisons. And I also saw Nancy Ellis with the town of Oro Valley. So technically we have who we need here. Also want to give the opportunity to our a new addition. Natalie Shep is Senior Program Manager with PDEQ. Natalie, would you like to unmute and sort of introduce yourself? And she's a former member of PAG also, years gone by.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, the last PAG meeting I went to, I couldn't be heard, so I wasn't sure if it was going to happen again. Yeah, so I'm Natalie Shep, and I started a little over a month ago as the Senior Program Manager for Outreach and Education for Pima County Department of Environmental Quality. This is my second go around with PDEQ. I started as a college intern here back in 1998, and then I worked for PAG after that as an air quality planner for about 5 years. And then I was at the U of A Cooperative Extension for about 11 years. So I'm very happy to be back at PDEQ, and I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Natalie. And Natalie's colleague, Sky, will be sharing some information on the Desert Dwellers program later. And then we have Luz from Suntran, who's going to share information about the on-demand. Renee, I think this might be of interest to you. So when she gets rolling, you guys are probably going to get connected. So, and then hopefully we'll have some people pop in, or we also have folks that are going to be on the YouTube link. So we won't be able to see them here. I know Tom from Intuit is out there. They're the folks that are participating. We just can't see them. So first thing, my name's Mary Carter. I'm with Pima Association of Governments. I'm the Director of Development and Partnerships. So I also manage the TRP, one of my hats, and then my other hat is with Arizona Grantmakers Forum, which is a contract that we have through our Regional Partnering Center. So for the TRP, the first thing we're going to share with you guys today is our results. Which I'm going to get rid of that one and share this one. So what this is, for those of you who are either new or haven't seen it before, the activity inventory survey we do once a year. When we had last year, we had the pandemic. So of course we had to push it because normally do it in April and May. Well, with a pandemic, we pushed it all the way to August. So some of the interesting statistics that we can pull out of this, and it serves as the annual plan for each employer, is some of the things that are happening, what we see either going up or down in terms of percentages. It was like pulling teeth, like every year, but this year we had 190 employers who responded. Those outstanding, the balance of the 208 employers that we have in the program currently, we will continue to chase them. We're going to send them a letter. There's been a lot of I'm on vacation or staff has changed. So normally we can get about 75% of those to then turn their stuff in. But it gives us the statistics, like how many employees are represented across those employers. So we're at 128, which interestingly enough is about where we were last time. With less employers. So the program itself, if we get those other employers to respond, obviously the number of employees has gone up. Flex schedules is about the same. We saw a little bit of an increase for the bike facilities. One of the things that we thought was going to be a huge surge was the telework program, which, I mean, it went up a little bit, but not what we expected given the forced experiment of everybody having to work from home. The other thing that we have that we looked at is the different promotional events. And like with Natalie, some of the things, the work that you're doing, these are kind of indicative of where are people wanting to plug in terms of outreach. Earth Day obviously had a big uptick. The free car day, that went way down, but may have not been something that was promoted. We're seeing an increase in those that want to bike to work, but that was not shown here. Buffalo grass, that kind of went away. And cyclovia, so a little bit of a decrease there. So the other thing that was interesting also is there's such a focus on being green and sustainability. The sustainability teams went down as a percentage, and the wellness teams or committees with each employer went up. For this air survey, one of the things that we did add was we wanted individuals to identify what percentage of their workforce did they believe was going to be working from home in the future. And it was really a mixed bag, and we did not have a lot of individuals who actually responded. They just left it blank, maybe because they didn't know and didn't want to put in not sure. But when they look at a percentage of their total of who is going to work from home, it really it landed at about 16% between 0 and 25%. So also had predicted that might have been a bigger number, but I believe a lot of the employers are still trying to figure it out. On this call, we have academics, we have county facilities. It's wondering who is going to be able to predict long-term if they're going to have a telework policy and allowing people to stay at home. We're seeing a lot of articles about the fact that those with particular types of skills, if they're not allowed that flexibility, there is a risk that they will walk across the street and get a job with somebody else, because people have learned how to live this new lifestyle where they're in charge of their own schedules, or they're not having to go to the office. So it's yet to be seen, but we did ask the question. So in any of these things that were asked, I mean, most of you, like Renee, had to fill this out multiple times. Any feedback in terms of what you're seeing in your own workforce, or what you believe will be a new standard? Anybody want to comment? We've got like Nancy Ellis, you're one of the jurisdictions. Anything going on out in Oro Valley?
We really haven't seen a big change. I think people are still adjusting, and I think we're kind of feeling our way around. I think there are going to be a lot more people, a lot more departments allowing at least more flexibility with telework, which will be nice for those of us who like that. So, but we're still kind of feeling our way around that.
Yeah, that seems to be sort of the answer. Many are like, well, we really don't know. We're having to write a policy. What are the minimums? Do people have to come in? Are they going to rearrange all their offices? So we'll see how that shakes out. Okay, so that's the air survey results. Now, the other piece about this process that was interesting, and I pulled some numbers. So when we do the air survey, we know how many FTEs a employer had when it got started, and then they update their FTEs, number of employees. So I'll share with you that we had of 208 employers. I mentioned that we had 190 that submitted their information, and we tracked which ones had an uptick in their FTEs and which ones had a decrease. Interestingly enough, there was 79 organizations that had an increase in the number of FTEs that they currently employ. 90 had a decrease in FTEs, and 37 had no change. But of the top increases, we saw some big jumps. So for example, home goods went from 920 employees to 1,800. We saw Geico went from 1,478 up to 1,903. So they increased by 425 employees. That's a bunch of people to get hired. Now, this is not I should say that this is not a perfect science. This is what we had in our database when it started. So, we did not go to their HR director and verify that that was an accurate number, but based on how we track, it was an interesting change. Also, MHC Healthcare, which is a federally qualified health center, they're all over the region. They went from 347 to 590. Tucson Medical Center went from 4,530 to 4,773. And then also we saw MHIRJ Aviation went from 300 to 535. So of the last four that I mentioned, they were right around 250 plus employees that they've added. So that's a very positive thing. I see Alex joined us from the U of A. U of A was one of the #1 decreases. They went from 14,000 down to 11,550. And that was a big chunk. Now, certainly based on when U of A takes the air survey, it also can be a function of student workers, how they report their FTEs and that. The other big decrease was TUSD Education Center. They went down 1,610 employees. And then I know that Tom Harrington is watching us via YouTube. We noted that Intuit went down 240 employees. So we were looking at that more from the point of view of like the economic impact and who's going up, who's going down. If we look specifically over the different employees or employers, the nice thing that we can see as a trend is we have our resorts and our hospitality groups that they are starting to come back. So that's a real positive. I know in the middle of the pandemic, when we saw places like Westwood Look and we saw the El Conquistador, I mean, they dipped below 100 FTEs and now we're starting to see them come back. So that's a good thing. Any questions about the air survey or any of the employee counts or the process? Going once, going twice? Okay. All right. So our next point that we'll share with you, survey trends. This is like numbers, life by numbers this morning. So if you like statistics, this will be interesting. If you don't, then bear with us. So as of the 10th of June, we have surveyed 79 employers who have completed their annual TRP surveys. With our program, we are allowed and are able to extend and offer more time if people do not get the recommended 50% participation. Of the total employees represented in the program, we have 137,238. The number of responses that we've received is 12,341. And our average response rate is 46.15. Why is that important? Well, that's going to be one of those metrics that we focus on this year and how we can encourage people or motivate folks to respond to the survey. Because the information that we gather as part of this process is fed into our activity-based model, which at PAG, there's a host of brilliant folks that are taking that data and it helps planning for transportation projects and community initiatives. So in the current year, we also have vehicle miles traveled, or VMT. That looks to be 52.94, and that's over a period of a week. When we look at how people respond to their one-way trips when they're commuting to work. And then when we look at total miles saved, we're at 177,823, which when we pull that and extend it for a whole year, because you multiply that number times 2 times 52, because it's 52 weeks in a year, it's 1,849,359. So of 41 of 79 have a response rate above 50%. So when we look at that average, our average is 46.15, right? But half of those employers are achieving that 50% or more in terms of the response rate. So overall, those statistics, the trends that we see is probably every month I have those that are doing what we've asked and those that aren't. So like any situation, those that are not performing as we wanted to, they take more energy, more phone calls, more encouragement, and often are the ones that have to have an extension. But we're certainly sensitive that right now there is this need for accommodation because everybody's managing a different type of situation. Like Josephine, I know, I mean, with your type of organization, there are people that have to be on site. I mean, it's kind of what they do. So there's no way that they're going to be able to telework, or when you look at the type of work they do, they have to take a moment out in order to take that survey. So we want to be sensitive to how you're able to encourage those folks, or what are the things that you do may be very different than what the U of A does or one of our jurisdictions. So, or like Andrea's here from Raytheon. She's substituting for Ron Gonzalez, who is out on vacation right now. Raytheon, while they have a manufacturing element as part of their workforce, they have a lot of folks that are either working from home on a regular basis, even before the pandemic, or they have those that take that option because they may live at a certain distance away from the home office. So
Yes, that's a true statement. We
heard somebody, but maybe that's not for us. No.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Who do we have on the line?
This is Andrea.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Okay. Well, yes, we we through the pandemic, we're very lucky. We kept our manufacturing ongoing. There has been quite a few of our employees that work from home. I, for one, love it. My animals love it. But we have kept our recycling, we've kept everything going on site. So we weren't affected as much as others were.
Good. Yeah, because you had it sort of as a standard way that folks were able to work from home anyway. So
Yeah, there's a lot more folks working from home now. I think going forward, not only for our industry, but I think across the country, I think we're going to see a lot more of this continuing.
yeah, it's definitely a new day. How we manage our workforce is going to be trying to figure out those that can stay home, and that's seen as a privilege or a benefit, and those that have to be on site, what do you do? I had actually heard a radio show where they were talking about Ford manufacturing plants, that if you have to work the assembly line, you have the opportunity to go in, order your dinner that you'll take home with you that night, because that's a benefit since you have to be on site. That would be interesting. But
Very interesting. Thank you for having me today.
yes, thanks for being here. Raytheon is a long-standing member of the TRP for sure. Okay, any other questions? We'll get rolling and we'll have our first presentation. Sky Siegel, who is with PDEQ and super excited to share the Desert Dwellers Know program. This is
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Thank you, Sky.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Well, hello, everyone, and I'm so excited to be here and really appreciate the invitation. We are working on a wonderful project that will support TRP outreach, and I invite all of you to connect with us in some way to give ideas and move this forward. This is a fresh project, so hot off the press. I am Sky Siegel, Community Connections Coordinator for DEQ. I've been here about a decade and am very passionate about air, land, and water, which is the core mission of DEQ. And to move forward, I should be able to do this. Yay. Okay, this project is called the Desert Dwellers Know Project. When I used to be I was in the Tucson Association of Realtors, I was a Green Committee member. I got this idea for a project to connect with the Tucson Audubon Society. They're the fiscal sponsor for this project. And I used to have a neighbor. Her name was Bird Baylor, and she is a poet. She's 97 years old. She just had her birthday a couple months ago. And so the background on it, I'm going to get into a little bit more detail. But the heart of it is we made a tribute to Bird, her poetry. She's won 4 Caldecott honors for her writing. And so it's her poetry in a beautiful nature poster. and an associated coloring booklet for its STEAM activities. So we created that for teachers. And the part that's really cool that spins off on the core project is these drive less stickers. So it's this idea about desert dwellers know that driving less is really cool in a lot of ways. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the spin-off projects for the future and open to ideas. So here is a highlight of the poster, and we have this behavioral psychology approach that, Mary, you might remember with Beth Gorman when you went to New York, in kind of bringing to the forefront, how do we connect with multi-generational audiences? How do we have memorable outreach programs that really motivate people to change behaviors that are very supportive of driving less and doing more active transportation? So what's interesting about this project is this idea about desert dwellers know. Of course you know, if you're a desert dweller, of course you drive less. Of course you bike more. Of course you share rides. This is what desert dwellers do. So just jump on the bandwagon. It's kind of this idea of getting informed of this heart of where we live, the spirit of our place, the genus loci it's referred to, the plants, the animals, we all need clean air. We all need healthy water. What is in the air ends up in the water, ends up in the land. So it covers all the bases of the heart mission of DEQ. So it's Desert Dwellers Know, Celebration of Birds Words. And we are honoring knowledge of our locals. And we're so happy that the Audubon Society has taken the lead in terms of allowing us to do the Desert Dwellers Education Project as a fiscal sponsor. We do have a lot of community support. This is so cool, you guys. In addition to the Bird Baller as the main sponsor, the Clean Air Program with the DEQ, of course, kind of connected with Bird First, so it got it going. And then the UA College of Sciences, Biological Sciences came on, and Tucson Water was very appreciative of these efforts, outreach efforts. And Tumamoc Peoples and Origins group, Palmaroka Design, and the big one, as I had mentioned before, the Tucson Association of Realtors strongly reported and supported and gave money for allowing us to print. By the way, these are fine art prints. It's a chicle, and it's beautiful. It's kind of a 3D effect. And if anybody's interested in a poster, just contact me. I'll have my contact information. I'd be very happy to get one to you, as well as stickers and booklets. Just let me know if you're interested. I'm happy to connect you. And oh yeah, Bati Indian Arts. So we were also connecting with businesses and culture. Okay, let's move it forward here. Oh, and here's Bird. This is actually her 94th birthday a few years ago. This past April was her 97th birthday. And she lives with her grandson right here in east side of Tucson. But anyway, here we are at La Cocina, right outside in Old Town Artisans and Art House Centro. And yeah, Bird is opening her card, and she's got this giant cake that's a carrot cake, her favorite thing. Anyway, people of all ages came to her birthday party. It was so much fun, and she was just smiling the whole time. Anyway, we celebrate Bird. That's what this whole project is about. So moving on, what we thought is, hey, we've got this poster on the wall, and it's beautiful. And when you get up close, you can enjoy all the words. But what do we have for kids? So why not have the poster jump off the wall into the laps of kids? And for teachers, to make it easy, is her poetry and imagery that will tie in activities that are STEAM related. So we really want science, technology, engineering, art, gotta have the art in there, and math together. So we're really zooming in on desert critters and plants and activities you can do that are fun and parents and teachers and kids can do together. It's really appealing to all ages. I did include links in this, and I know the presentation we shared with everyone. So as you have time, go check into the links in blue throughout the presentation so you can get the details. So here are the stickers. Okay, we are talking about bike more, ride more, share rides more, smile more. We got 2 on the ride more angle. We have really done the local genus loci, A Mountain, we've got Saguaro Flower, we've got Ronstadt Center, we've got the skyline of Tucson. I love this too. And Mary, this ties with what Beth and you had shared with me when he got back from New York. They're like, smile more. Okay, what's the experience? You're out there driving less, smile more. And people get a little curious, well, why should I smile more? Hello, we were trying to share with you how much fun it is to have more free time, enjoy your friends, work on whatever else you want without worrying about traffic and sound, acoustics that are not fun driving in traffic. So the other piece too is, I don't know if many of you already knew this, but scorpions, the moms carry babies on their back. So we thought it was a perfect representation of, hey, share rides, folks. That's what desert dwellers do. And here's a key desert dweller to let you know what's smart to make happen. Okay, so wrapping it up, we have some cool ideas that we're moving forward, and Natalie is supportive of these ideas, and also we're wanting to invite other thoughts of how we can continue to support the TRP program with the work we're doing and getting it into the schools. And as Natalie has highlighted, we really want teenagers and our soon to be drivers, future drivers, talk to them before they get behind the wheel. Yeah. So that's the idea too, is like, hey, we can have a card game. We can, that could be made for different ages, different sophistication levels of the card game. You can start with Go Fish and then you can move on up to Jailhouse Spades, for example, or some other fun game. And we had an intern from the U of A, Master's in Public Health, and that's what Natalie, she completed that program. And I just got accepted actually just last week to start the program this fall, Master's in Public Health for health behavior, health promotion. That's Natalie's specialty. And I'm a wannabe specialist in health promotion. So I'm a rookie, but I'm getting going. And so we're wanting with the Desert Dwellers travel trunk to have for the schools, like basically portable classroom. Go wherever. We can go outside in a pop-up classroom. We can go anywhere, a library or a community center, but we want to infuse the drive less message and get the teenagers to come up with leadership roles to teach other kids and their parents about how awesome it is to preserve our air quality, water quality, and land. And driving less is a way you can cover all those bases. Also, the loop. We're celebrating a loop for scavenger hunt, and it's like an ongoing idea to do tiered prize incentives. So it's really a fun project, and want to invite all of you to share ideas on anything that's mentioned, but anything even just that pops in your head. We welcome that, and really want to figure out how we can inspire more and more people to drive less. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Sky.
Do I have questions?
Is your contact information here? I'm Luce. I'm the community outreach manager for SunTrans.
Yes,
so I
here
definitely
it is. Thank you so much for reminding me to click forward.
Awesome. I love that. I'll definitely be reaching out.
Thank
Excellent,
you.
Luz.
Your enthusiasm is infectious and endless. So
thank you so much for having me.
The one thing we need to add on here, and it's a perfect bridge as we are going to hear from Suntran, is that all public transportation is free through December 30th. So with that, that is something, especially with Pima Community College, you have those that are participating, both students and your staff, that if that message is not already known, then please share that with them. It's posted on the Suntran website as well. You can link to it. So with that,
yes,
introduce Luz Navarrete. She is going to share the on-demand pilot program, and we'll have you take it away.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Thank you all so much for having me. So I am the community outreach manager for Suntran, Van Link, and then our new service, which we're going to talk about today, is the Sun on Demand. So what Sun on Demand is our micro transit service. It started off as a pilot in November. And since then we decided to keep it going since it did so well. What on demand is, it's basically like Uber. Everybody knows Uber, right? It picks you up, takes you where you need to go, door to door. It's on demand. You can call it when you need it. And that's basically what our service is. So what we do is we focus on 2 areas. So here is the system map overview, and I have circled the zone 1 area and the zone 2 area. So the zone 1 area is in Ward 1, a little bit in Ward 3, the west side, and we'll go into a more detailed map, but I wanted everyone to kind of see all of our service area and what we have. All these different little colors here are routes that Suntran services, and this areas that are circled are on-demand service areas. So like I said, on-demand is kind of like the Uber mentality. You can call it and pick it up where you want to go. We also allow people to do scheduled rides. So you can schedule your ride up to 7 days in advance. And you can also do reoccurring rides too. So if someone's needing to go to work every day, they can schedule their rides like that every day as a reoccurring ride. All right. I think I can move forward, right? There we go. Did I move that? Crystal might have done that. All right.
You've got
So
it.
this, okay, great. So this is our zone 1 area here. It's just a little zoomed in so you guys can see. And some of our anchors here, we have the Mercado St. Agustin here, the MSA Annex. We also have the El Rio Health Center in here. We have the St. Mary's Hospital out here, Boys and Girls Club, a lot of areas that people kind of need to go. And what we did is this Route 22, it used to go intertwine a lot in the little areas and neighborhoods here. And what we did is we streamlined the Route 22 and replaced it with the on-demand service. So there was a lot of places where this Route 22 was going into that people weren't using. And we found it better to just be able to give those people the door-to-door rides. And then now we are taking out the big 40-foot buses out of these little neighborhoods and replacing them with the smaller on-demand vehicles. So our on-demand vehicles only hold about 10 people. They are still ADA accommodative. We have the lifts so people can use their mobility device when traveling in them as well. So back in November, we didn't really see a lot of need with the businesses. Like that's something that we were kind of struggling with because a lot of these businesses were, having people work from home. They weren't having clients come in. They weren't really opening their doors to people. So now that we're seeing a lot of things reopening, a lot of the county businesses, a lot of the city businesses reopening, we're, seeing people kind of wondering like, oh, what happened to that bus stop that used to be right here? So we're really trying to push another effort into reaching out to everyone and making them aware of this service. Because what we found is that people who use the on-demand service will use it and use it and use it and use it. It's just trying to get them to use it that first time. Because it is a little bit more of a barrier than just walking up to the bus and getting on the bus and taking it where you need to go, right? Now you have to think about it. You have to plan your trip. You have to schedule it. You have to go through different barriers to actually use it. But once you see how easy it is, people have been reusing it. So we have a really good retention record where people use it once and they continue to use it. It's just getting them to use it that first time that we're really trying to push. So again, there's a lot of really points of interest in this area. And what we also started doing in this Zone 1 service area is connecting people from Ronstadt to this area. That actually came about with the City Housing Community and Development Department. Once they opened, they were missing this Route 22 that was Ronstadt that used to come right in front of them. So they reached out to us, we spoke about it, and we were able to do kind of a little corridor. So the on-demand will pick and drop people off at the Ronstadt Transit Center and bring them over to this Zone 1 area. And what that does as well is it opens us up to a lot of places that are downtown. So if you all do have clients or people who are needing to get to your services downtown that live in this area, it's a very easy commute. the Ronstadt Transit Center is right in the middle of downtown. It's a very easy walk, and it's also really easy to just jump onto that Sunlink or another route. Okay, let's go to. Okay, so this is our zone 2. This is all located in the Ward 5 area, and we have a lot of big points of interest here as well. We have the Quincy Douglas Center, we have the Tucson Marketplace, which is like Costco, Walmart, Geico's in here as well. Then we also have the, where is it? Up here, the El Rio Health Center on Cherry Bell, the main office. We have the food bank, which is also within our area too. And again, we're just really trying to get the word out there as well. We had a lot of success with communities, like the Blanche Johnson Courtyard for seniors. You know, reaching out to them was really easy because they need these services, and they really took advantage of it. Just getting, you know, from their place to the Walmart or the Costco, like it really worked out for them well. But we're hoping to see a lot of offices and, you know, maybe hospitals or people with clients who need to get to their services. We're hoping to get in front of those employers to like let them know, like, this is a service that could work really well for your client. Or if you have somebody who's working within the area and lives within the area, that might really work out for them too. Because again, it is an on-demand, you can schedule it ahead of time. So if you have that appointment, they can schedule it ahead of time, and it picks them up at their home door and it'll take them to the door they need to get to. Let's see. And here's just a little bit of kind of like the outreach events we did. So we were doing a lot of outreach kind of at the height of the pandemic. So we did reach out to a lot of the housing communities, and we were able to really help them understand the service and help them get to where they need to go. And like I've been saying, we really want to get into a lot of the businesses now and just hope that we can talk to people about their employers using it, or how we can work with them to get their clients to know the message and use the service. And again, everything is free. So even this on-demand service is free to everyone. And this is the vehicle here. Like I said, it fits 10 people. It's smaller than a bus. And you can see somebody here is using the lift. It looks like she has a walker and she's using the lift to get down. It's very easy. This phone number here, you call to schedule it and they'll walk you through it. You don't have to be pre-approved. It's not like Sunvan where you have to like pre-register to use the service. It's all easy. It's all easy. You can call them right now and they can schedule a ride from you like in 15 minutes if that's what you wanted. Yes.
Luz,
That's
can
all
I
for
ask
me.
a question?
Yes.
When, I mean, granted, we have it through December, but the rates for a trip, if it was to be a fee collected, would be how much?
We have not decided on that just yet. We're hoping to mirror the bus fares. The bus fares is also kind of going through a process of what we're deciding to do that as well. And yeah, we're not really sure, you know, with fares returning, when they will return, if they'll return. We know that they did put into their kind of saying that in November, they wanted to come up with a plan to extend free fares until the end of fiscal year 2022. So that would be like June 2022. So we know that there is a plan set forth that they want to try to extend that. So fares are not at the top of our mind right now.
Thank you.
Yes, but it is free. So this is a perfect time for people to try it out. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing that information. I would like to virtually make the connection here because Renee, that you see participating from Pima Community College, the two of you seemingly, because Renee, you'd be the point of contact in terms of sharing this kind of stuff with the students?
Yes, yeah, it would be me. And then
Okay.
I could get it out to the right people here within the college.
Yeah, because I know that transportation for some of your students is a hardship. And so there's possibly those that live in those areas. And even, Luz, are they able to put a bicycle on that on demand?
They're not able to put a bicycle in that. There's no bike racks.
And do they allow it to go inside or no?
No, bikes aren't unfortunately not able to go on these smaller vehicles.
Okay, because in some instances, there's a little bit of a walk, or there's a little bit of distance in between A and B.
Yeah, but Renee, we have been kind of toying around with the idea of going out to the Pima West. So maybe we can talk about that later, seeing if there is even a need for that. Because that kind of has been going back and forth with us, whether there is a need for students to go all the way out to the Pima West.
Yeah, I think the
Location.
zone, that first zone that you showed is a pretty good example of our students that would be in need. So that'd be
Okay.
interesting to look at a little bit more.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll reach out to you offline then. Maybe we can talk. Thank
And
you.
Monica, I see Monica is joining us from the city of Tucson. She is a new TC and assigned to the task force. This would potentially be helpful for both city employees and those that live near the downtown area. So she can communicate that through the city. Obviously, Suntran, you guys are all contracted. And then-
Monica, you know, right? You know that.
Yeah, this is a great service, and
Yeah.
absolutely, it should definitely be shared
Yeah.
far and wide. Thank you, Luz.
Yes. Important.
And then Alex with the U of A, have you been able to connect, Luz, with Alex?
Yeah, we talk.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
no, the signage is so nice. Like all of myself and the transit manager are envious, and so we're looking to see how we can kind of make our signage look as good as yours did for the on-demand. So kudos there.
Thanks, Alex.
And then lastly, Steve Rivera, who is with St. Mary's, have you had the opportunity to connect with him as well?
I emailed somebody over. I think it was Steve that I emailed last week.
Okay.
So-
You're on my to-do list, and I'm glad that the meeting came through.
Oh,
All
say-
right.
Was that Steve making a comment? I didn't hear him. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I saw Luz's email. She's on my to-do list.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Especially for on demand, I would think for patient visits, that would be a big one.
Yeah, definitely.
Certainly El Rio is in the zone 1 and 2. So you said you already had a contact with them, I believe.
I do. Yeah.
And for the Pima County employees, I mean, they may just want to use it just so they can go west side for lunch. I don't know, because you guys are all downtown. So, all right. Well,
Thank you.
this has been quite efficient at 45 minutes for the whole thing. This is good. One thing that I would like to add, and it was on our agenda, I just blew by it because I wanted Sky to get her time in. I wanted to share the concept because we don't have any of the actual elements to it yet. That'll be forthcoming in the next 24 months. But I'm working with PAG Communications right now because we have an expansion plan that we are going to be embarking on in the new fiscal year. And what we did is we looked at who is in our database currently and who are the employers out there that really should be participating in TRP. So we're doing a full court press, we're doing a new marketing kit, and we're going to be reaching out to those that have over 100 FTEs. We predict that there's in the neighborhood of about 150 employers out there that really should be participating in TRP. So we'll be doing mass mailing on a prioritized list, and the proposal is that over the next 24 months, we're hoping to have new additions that come into the program. The benefit of it is we end up generating a lot of in-kind because we capture in-kind that we match against our federal dollars through our survey system. And so the sort of loose back of the napkin math that we went through was that of 207 employers that were identified, once we scrub that list down to about 150, we have probably the potential to add 33,000 employees that would be subject to receiving information and learning more about the TRP. And then we predicted that at a 55% response rate. Because we looked at those response rates earlier, shared with you that that's kind of, we're hovering right around the half mark. So then, yeah, it could potentially pan out to be about $86,000 in kind, which is a chunk. And so that's a real big plus since PAG uses that to match against expenses. And that's all federal accounting stuff that, you know, can make your head swell when you have to deal with that stuff. But it will be the kind of effort that where we can link arms with Sky, who's doing outreach through the county, because there's all those employers that are along the loop. It's where we can link arms around U of A because of the parking struggles that you have, and you have businesses around those areas. Certainly with the hospitals and those that provide medical services, as we share that information, we've got TMC and Carondelet and all of our clinics through El Rio and MHC Healthcare. So there's different ways to partner throughout this effort. We're not under the impression that we think, oh, everybody's going to jump in on the first time they receive the letter, because we all know that we want people to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, but sometimes they have to be reminded it's an ordinance and it's a rule and you have to do it. So that's the added layer of motivation. And we'll see what comes of, we have a new administration, and as we're rolling out and focusing on sustainability, and we're seeing our own state that's focusing on water quality. So, the winds of change are upon us. And Natalie is now driving the boat over at PDEQ. So we'll have lots of opportunities to share information and cross-fertilize. So with that, we're right at 10:48. Anybody have anything additional to add for the good of the order? Nay? All right. I have one question for Sky. The stickers that are designed and part of the program, do you have an inventory of those?
I do. We have kind of a few hundred of each left right now, but the next fiscal year is just in a couple weeks. We will have additional funding to print a whole bunch more in-house. So anyone who's interested, just let me know and put in your order, and I will get them to you soon.
Awesome. Yeah, and I would ask everybody who's on this call, can you tell 2 people that public transportation is free right now? Because that's a big deal. That means, like, if you want to take the express bus from an outlying jurisdiction all the way downtown, or the on-demand service, Liz and I talked about, you could park at the Mercado, take the streetcar in, see the Rialto's opening, Fox Theater's opening, and share that opportunity with people, because now is the time to try it. If people don't know how to ride the bus, or they want to go ride the streetcar, they're having friends in from out of town, take this opportunity and share the message with at least 2 people so that they know. Share it on Facebook, I guess. And Liz, is that being posted on social media as well?
Oh yeah. We're very active on social media. So yeah, we've got a lot going on.
I'm not, so I'm guilty, but so I have to ask people that are out there doing that. So, and I'm sure U of A is also. Alex, are you guys posting stuff out so your students are aware of it?
Yes, and we're right in the nitty-gritty part of new student orientation, so it's definitely, we're getting the word out there. We want to see as many Wildcats on Sunshine and Sunlink as possible.
Awesome. And Andrea, for Raytheon, I know you guys have direct buses, but some of those express buses might benefit your staff too, or just because they want to do it when they're on their off day. We know when there's the 980s, the Friday when Raytheon is not driving, it's like a whole different experience.
I think there is an opportunity we can put it on a web page that would get out to all of our employees. I'll pass that along for sure.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll call it a wrap at 10:51. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay in the shade because it's going to be blistering hot. We knew it was coming. Every year we know it's coming, and when it arrives, we're shocked. But yeah, it's going to be a blistering 113 or something like that today. So stay in the shade, drink lots of water. We'll see you.